All right, ladies, can you hear me? Beautiful. Okay, here we are. Well, welcome. I'm
Hello.
over here. Happy Wednesday, ladies. Welcome to our 10x your revenue for impact planning session. Oh my goodness, it's amazing to be here with you ladies. Melissa and I are over the moon. Excited to be here with you ladies. I hope you had a moment to kind of move your body a little bit to the music. We get to be unstoppable today. Who's in with me on that? Yes, I know, I know. It's just so weird. I'm like so I love meeting people in person. And sometimes virtually, I feel like I want to jump through the screen. And just so you know, I'm like literally also standing presenting today too. So if you have a standing desk, that could be a thing for you today and change it back and forth. But just so you know, we have a grounding moment together where we get to tune in to ourselves and get connected and present before we get started. But I'm going to give everyone just another moment to get here. Melissa, do we have everyone from
Well, I want you to
Lady?
check your private message, please.
Yeah, go ahead and let Sherry in.
Okay.
I believe Sherry is part of one of the communities that I'm in. We can
Oh,
always
okay.
chat and afterwards.
Sure.
So
I
we
just
can do
wasn't
that.
sure because I didn't see her
Yeah,
on the
I,
list.
I
Okay.
believe that's Sherry I'm thinking about. So thank
Okay.
you, Melissa. All right. Okay. With that said, we have 16 of us. I think we are still missing a few, but that's okay. We'll get started anyway. So, ladies, join me if you are not already sitting in your chair. And hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining us. We want to start with a grounding exercise. We would like for you to take a seat where you can feel your feet on the ground, and or if you have a standing table, you can stand up, like whatever you choose. But we are going to take a moment. It will be literally just about 5 minutes-ish for us to get grounded together, to get into our bodies, to be open to what we have in store for you ladies today. Does that sound good? Thumbs up? Okay. All right, let's do that. Go ahead for it. Take a seat, lean back, close your eyes. Mm. And just give yourself this first, yes, initial moment just to kind of like arrive. December 17th, 2025. As we arrive here together, what an incredible year it has been, right? You're here. You're here. You're here. And we get to do this work together to close out the year and also to look forward for what 2026 has to offer all of you. Keep your eyes closed. We're going to do a fire breathing exercise. What you will do is to lift your elbows up to about shoulders height with your palms facing towards the back of you. You're going to breathe in through your nose and out of your nose as firmly, as strongly as possible as you pull your elbows down towards your body as you breathe out. Okay, so inhale as you lift your elbows up to about shoulder height. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, blow it out of your nose as you pull your elbows down towards your body and do that fast and quick and vigorous. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe out, breathe out. Yep. Five, four, three, two, one. Place your palms into your chest. Just take a deep breath in. Yes. Perhaps you notice now the heartbeat a little faster. right? Feeling your feet more, feeling more of energy throughout your body. What we're doing, ladies, we're just clearing some space, clearing out just some like static energy to make room, make space for our time together. We have two more sets, just like that. Breathe in, elbows up, inhale. Breathe out, go for it. Exhale out your nose vigorously. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Second set, palms onto your chest, complete. Breathe in and breathe out. Perhaps more warmth, right? Like in your body, being even more present. Your heart is beating even faster. Deep breath in. This time, open your lips slightly, like you want to blow out a straw. Breathe it out. All right, we have one more set. Your choice to keep your eyes closed, so you can gently open your eyes and do this last set of breathing with your eyes open to bring more awareness to where you are. Breathe in, go for it, blow it out, and pull down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Place your palms into your chest. Lean in. Notice your heartbeat. Yeah, options to keep your eyes open, or option is to close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat. If you have your eyes open, you can start just looking on screen, right? Share your energy. We are here together. We can do anything, right, today, but we chose to be here. You chose to be here, right? You're choosing to show up for yourself, most importantly, then your business, right? Like we get so busy with everything that is required, of you to do as the business owner, but you chose to be here. So acknowledge, first of all, yourself, and then acknowledge each other energetically, because we are in this container together. Like we're holding space, for each other to do the work of reflection for what 2025 is ending like, and what is in store for each and every one of us for 2026. Right? So much to celebrate and to talk through. And Melissa and I are so excited and blessed and grateful to be able to lead you through this session together. So welcome, 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 ladies. I'll just take a couple shares for what are you feeling right now? And what are you looking forward to in our time together today? Go ahead and just unmute and chime in.
Deidi, thank you for helping us get centered. I think that is my word. I'm feeling grounded. I'm feeling centered after that. And I wasn't coming into this conversation. I've had a back-to-back rushed morning. And so everything felt rushed. And to do the deep work like this, being able to clear the mind, transition into something even more powerful. I appreciate that gift. What I'm most excited for today is to really gain clarity, right? I've got so many floating ideas and so many opportunities, but I don't really fully know where I want to place my energy. And I've not been like that for a few years. And so you providing this opportunity for us to get together and guide me through this with all these people here today is beautiful. So thank you.
Marissa, thank you. Thank you so much for that share. Yes, absolutely. Clarity is everything. So, yes, thanks so much for being here. Amazing. One more share, please. Anyone?
I'll share.
Yes.
Yeah, um, I'm super excited to be here, and I'm feeling a renewed sense of really ownership over my business and my future. And where even just over the last few days that has taken me creatively is super exciting. And I feel like for me, the creative part of it is so important. And I've been bogged down in so much other stuff um, in the last months that anyway, I'm super excited about being able to um, have the next level of success and opening up new avenues of creativity for 26. So thank you for this opportunity.
Amazing, incredible. Likewise, thank you, Rachel. Thanks for showing up. I just don't have all the words to like tell you ladies how grateful I am to be able to do this because each and every one of you ladies do incredible work in the world right now, currently, right? And like if we can just spend this time together to figure it out together, so you can go out there and do your thing, and like that's how we can collectively make a massive difference. So thank you for those shares. So with that said, I would love for us to get started. And as you know already, some of you ladies I know really, really well. Others I'm still getting to know. Others I fell in love at first sight. And then some of you ladies I don't know very well. So welcome, welcome to our space. I just want to know that you to know that my intention today is give you everything that we know we have. I know Melissa, both she and I want to give you everything that we know when it comes to planning, and we are here for you every step of the way. So I am committed to showing up fully, playing full out. And with that said, it sounds like you ladies are in for the same. So thank you for that. With that said, I know some of you ladies might have just registered just literally yesterday or the day before or much sooner than to the date. So I know that you probably have gotten your homework assignment and you're like, wait, should I still come? So don't worry, that is for you. And we get to talk through it. And it was really more so you can really start thinking about your business on a very high level, big vision, 30,000 foot view. But we're here to do that as well too. And just know that anything that we'll work through today, you can take home with you and marinate on it and sit on it. And guess what, ladies? The incredible news is that this is not it. We're going to come back one more session as a follow-up session for any questions, anything that you worked through that you couldn't get through, anything that you're stuck on. We right now schedule for 12 o'clock. Believe was December 30th. I'm not sure what day is. I think it's a Tuesday, December 30th at noon is a follow-up for this session. So please mark your calendar for that. For additional support. And even if you got everything done, please come share because you know that anything that you're doing is an inspiration for another leader. So just mark that down as a housekeeping item. Melissa, am I missing anything? I think that should be good, right? We're ready to get started. You're also muted as well.
Yes, we are ready to go.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right, ladies. So you might say, okay, what is 10x planning? Like what's why this 10x concept? And I can tell you this, what happened, what got me here is guess what? Just like any of us, I know I'm first generation immigrant. I was raised to, do well in school, go get a job, do a thing, and then I'll find happiness. Did all that, got into a cubicle, and I was like, this is happiness. So fast forward, I lasted in corporate for about 6 weeks and I walked out and I was like, see you elevator, see you cubicle. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. So I realized that I'm just not made for being in one space. And I just got opportunity because my mom was already an entrepreneur. She was running salons, etc. And then, early 20s, I just kind of got like sucked into it. So almost 10 years of running salons, and then ultimately the last brick and mortar we had was a restaurant. Who would go from salon to restaurant? But we did. And I almost 10 years worked hard, lady, hard. Don't tell me the hard level of work with a restaurant owner, right? Like one minute you're like client interfacing and putting on a happy face, and the next minute you're like plunging the toilet, right? Or like you're climbing, the ladder just to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to with the electricity. Anyway, so I know the definition of hard work. But because of that, that's how I burnt everything down to the ground. I got completely burnt out physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the things. And when I started to really take care of myself, I vowed to myself that anything that I'm going to get myself into, I'm going to figure it out and that I'm going to work smart. Okay. So within the past 10 years since I launched my business from completely brick and mortar to completely online, like it was really out of necessity. It's just I had to move my in-person people to like virtually, like a phone call at first, and then eventually I figured out what Zoom was all about. So I moved them there. But this was 2015. Okay. I was virtual before I was virtual. I was virtual before the pandemic. Okay. And so with the intention to figure out like how I can work smarter and not harder. So 10 years of that, but honestly, more so within the past 5 years, I have really been obsessed with this whole concept of 10x. Okay. Let me grab the book because I have it. If you have not read this book, this is also part of your homework. It's 10x is easier than 2x. All of my clients on this call have read it. Or I'm just going to speak for you. Okay. So, yes, have been on my list to read for years. Yes, please do, because you'll see why this is so important for us all, especially if you are looking to achieve really big goals in 2026. This is the time. Yeah, right? Oh my gosh, Melissa, you took the words. Now is the time, Caitlin, to really read it, because the whole intention with this is the idea with 10x is easier than 2x. I'm going to break it down to you fairly easily. But before I dive into that, I just want to finish telling my story, and then I would love for Melissa to kind of like jump on and then share her take on this 10x concept with me. Is that so I did all of the hard stuff that you can imagine. And then I started my business. And then I was like, I still feel like I was doing the busy work again. It's another glorified, I don't know, like virtual online business. So my mission, definitely 10 years for sure, but the last 5 years, I've been immersing myself on productivity, efficiency, leveraging, optimizing, you name it, all the words that will describe how you can be most efficient in your business. And so that's really on it. Let's dive right in. So just to recap, annual 10x goal broken down to quarterly. Quarterly is 3 months basis at a time, figuring out if we're doing launches, what do we need to be doing to generate the quarterly revenue, and then working on if you do have launches, etc., and things like that, then it's good to wrap the marketing strategy around the 90-day window to make that most effective. That's okay if you don't have launches or events or anything like that, then it's easier for you in a way that you're always constantly going to be marketing your services or products. So it's much simpler than when you have to do launches. But ultimately, we call it a second step, a clear picture, is we have to know, especially as an entrepreneurs, we have to know our numbers, right? Like we have to know how many clients we need, not need, how many clients we need to attract into our sales funnel. So that way we can nurture them to become clients, right? Like as an entrepreneur, we should know, right? So that's our clear picture, and continuing on with the quarterly is how to plan out your month. And it's going to be similar to that as well. So you're going to take the quarter number and divide it by 3. Okay. So same thing. And the same effort is going to go into you realizing like how many leads you need, what kind of efforts are you going to really lean into so that way you can achieve your monthly goal. Okay. So this is where the monthly, you know how sometimes when you take a number and you divide it and it's all even, and you're like, okay, so each month for a $45,000 quarter, I have to make exactly $15,000. I just want to emphasize that that may not always be the case. Here's what I mean by that. Especially if you are doing an event or a launch of some sort, perhaps the first 2 months of that quarter is ramp up time until you actually launch the thing and sold the thing in the third month of the quarter. Then that's when your revenue will supposedly sum up to be the total quarter, right? So that's why sometimes it's don't be so bogged down and like disappointed if your first couple of months is a little slower, but you at least have to have an idea of what's going to happen in a third month, if you're on projection or not, and if how is your marketing effort. And you will know that already with how much you are already signing, like how many offers you already put out, how many are you going to really convert in a certain window of time, etc., and things like that. And as you know already, right, business is a numbers game. So the many numbers of offers that it's out there, the many people that it's going to be, you're going to be able to convert to become clients. So just keep in mind with that, like that the numbers might shift a little bit, doesn't have to be so exact, but the goal is that at the end of the quarter, you will achieve the particular goal that you set. Okay. I wanted to add that. Um, and then on a monthly basis as well too, oftentimes I get this question all the time. What if things are not happening as planned? Same thing. You are going to be proactive enough. You'll see what I'm going to show you. What you need to do on a weekly basis and daily basis is really going to help you make those kind of adjustments on a monthly basis. Okay. You want to adjust your plans and only adjust your plan on a monthly basis towards your quarterly goal. Okay. Um, the reason why I'm saying that is just because if you're not tracking your numbers and if you're not really looking at your effort, ideally you don't really know, especially if you wait to the end of the quarter to do the assessment, you can't make the adjustment soon enough. So on a monthly basis, you have to already be looking like, okay, am I that close? Or for example, am I like 1/3 the way there? Like what needs to be adjusting? So you want to be adjusting your marketing efforts and etc. and things like that on a monthly basis. Okay. And with that, I want Melissa to like kind of chime in. And because before we get into the real picture, so we have the big picture, step one. The clear picture is being able to broken down like quarterly to monthly. And now we have the real picture. Why I call it the real picture, ladies, is this is what we do on the weekly and daily basis that is going to make the biggest difference in our businesses. Okay.
Yes.
Can you
So
can you share, Melissa, just some of your wisdom around like how to set ourselves up for success, please?
absolutely. So I think we've, covered a lot up until this point. So I know you already understand like getting, in touch with your vision is important, who you serve is important, how you're setting things up as far as the tactical and your launches and your marketing and all of that. But what I'm going to tell you right now is that that's not enough. And I hope you don't feel deflated when I say that. I don't mean for that to be the case, but there's a few things that I will share with you right now that I think if you do them now, do them this month, when you hit January, you're going to just blow it out of the water, okay? Because a big part of planning what you're going to do is what you're letting go of also. And this is a total game changer for, for most people when they think about it this way. And you've heard the saying, what got you here won't get you there, right? So what you've done up until this point has gotten you where you're at. Now we have to start looking at, okay, what needs to change next year? And so when I look back at the years when I didn't really achieve what I wanted, I was still thinking and acting like a past version of myself. So I wasn't showing up in the way that I needed to. I was holding on to certain beliefs that made me think that I could just do things that were reasonable, right? Um, I, I knew that because I didn't really set goals with the right intention. I wasn't super excited about them. That goes back to that thing I said earlier about being, having a clear vision, right? You've got to be excited about your goals. And so I didn't really have the energy to go for it. And so I also was putting myself in very comfortable places. So I wasn't really challenging myself. And so this year, I want you to don't do what I did. I want you to start uh, the process of shifting your identity right now. I want you to get clear on who that next version of you actually is. So the first thing I want you to do is ask yourself, who do you need to be to reach the goals that you really want? So that is a question I want you to journal on afterwards. So write that question down. Who do you need to be to reach the goals you really want? And that could be like ask yourself, questions around that. What does that look like for me? Like, what are my beliefs? How do I spend my time? How visible am I? Am I kind of hiding? And I think when you do this exercise, you might find that maybe there's things you need to change. Maybe you need to be more decisive, or maybe you need to set better boundaries, or you have to get out there more, or you have to be less reactive or less available. So those things will come up as you walk through, as you journal through that question. And then the second thing I'm going to say about that particular one is when you have those things that you want to change, like that you want to set as new habits, put that in front of you. Have that list in front of you going into the year so that you can see them daily. Because changing habits is a daily practice. It's just too easy to get swept up in the old way of doing things. And also be gentle with yourself on this. It's going to take some time. It's not it's not an automatic thing. Um, Another thing to think about in terms of setting yourself up for success next year is surrounding yourself with the right people. And they always say that you are a reflection of the 5 people you hang out with most, right? So this is something I want you to do as part of your exercise after this too. Do a quick mental inventory of the people that you feel like you interact with the most in your life. And when you do that, check in with how do you feel about those people? If there's certain people that think small or they complain a lot or they make excuses or they don't support you, then hanging around with them while you're trying to build out this massive dream of yours is going to make it so difficult. And I had to make a really hard decision, just so you know, at the beginning of this year with someone who was a close business friend of mine. And I just got to the point where I literally needed to cut ties because she was dragging me down, man. I felt like that I just couldn't go forward. And it felt almost instantly like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I became much more creative as a result of it. So definitely look at that. Look at business or social groups that don't serve you anymore, but you've stayed in them because it was convenient or felt comfortable. Sometimes, I mean, they've served a purpose at the time, but maybe they don't anymore. And I will quickly tell you this, that I know that there's some people in your life you're not going to be able to let go because, like, could be in your family, you know? Um, and I would say for that, my advice to you is that while you won't be able to get them out of your life, and maybe you don't want to, you love them, right? Um, just know that you don't need agreement from them to build your dream. Instead, go to others who do support you to talk about your business. And that can be as part of a mentorship, that can be as part of, a business buddy relationship you have, that can be inside of a coaching program, whatever it is, go to those people. Um, this kind of leads me to the next point that I know you can't create your next level year alone. You do need the right places, the challenges, the conversations, and things like that. So the next question I want you to journal on is, who do I need to surround myself with to reach my goals? So it could look like choosing a new mentor for you, someone who believes in you and what you're creating. Um, it could look like finding groups that are going to hold you accountable to this new identity that you're changing into. Maybe it's looking around at people that you already sort of connected with, but you want to forge deeper relationships with them because you really admire them and they are doing next level things and you want to be a part of that and you want to be doing those things with them. And finally, just as important as defining what your next level version of you looks like and who you should have around you is taking the time, this is a big one, to identify the things that you know will take you out of your game. So I used to get distracted by my email and I would check it many times a day. I don't do that anymore because that was a habit that wasn't serving me. Maybe you tend to make impulse buys on things like software, trainings, marketing programs, things that drop in your inbox. You know, identify that. Maybe you work from home and you're easily distracted by all the stuff you think you must do throughout the day, like throw in another load of laundry or something. You know, it could be at things that are not so external. Maybe you have perfectionist tendencies or you overcommit. Get that list down. You know what it is. And when you have that, then the next step is to write down the actual action steps. This becomes part of your plan. What action steps that you can take that will help you mitigate those risks of those things taking over. So, it could be that, hey, if you do get distracted by stuff at home, maybe find a place that you can go to during the day, or at least like once or twice a week where you know you're not going to be distracted and you can clearly focus. Could mean that you're going to take certain apps off your phone, shutting down notifications, unsubscribing from lists that aren't in alignment anymore. So I just want you to know that while we're adding things to our plate that are in alignment, we're taking off the things that aren't. You are muted, Dee Dee.
Yes. All right, ladies. This conversation is getting pretty exciting, at least for me. And for all you ladies too. Like, I'm gonna get your buy-in on this because just like Melissa has mentioned, we can do all the things, right? Like you can go home after today and write down like your numbers for the year, the quarter, the month. I'm like, oh yeah, that's all great. Yes, I might do it. Or the real picture of planning when it comes to what you do on a weekly basis and especially on a daily basis, it's what is really going to 10x your effort. It's going to require you to step into your next level of leadership. It's going to take you to step into your next level of identity. For the longest time, I was just making money like it was a hobby. Like truly, like the first 2 years of it, I was like, yeah, I have this side gig, right? Some people call it, oh, I have a passion project. But honestly, into the one day where I realized, I was like, no, this is a business, right? I can go as far as back to when that was my mindset. Or I can tell you this, most recently, true story, my husband got laid off in August. We have 2 kids. We have all these things, this lifestyle. And then I become the instant breadwinner. So it was really nice and comfortable, right? Like I was running my business and then my husband was getting paid really well. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, what are we gonna do? And so, wow, did that give me an opportunity to really reflect? Have I been really, right? Like showing up in my business the way I really wanted to. And I got really real with myself, ladies, and that's why we're getting to the real picture of things now. It's like, who were you, right? Up until today, how have you been showing up in your business? And if you have not generated the revenue that you really wanted this year, it's just because you were not focused on making money. And the thing is, it's okay. I just want you to know that there's no shame, right? There's no blame, only ownership. I don't have this on a document yet, but I don't know if Melissa, if you don't mind just putting this in, I'm adding this in. You'll get to know me that stuff comes to me and I just say it and share it, right? Like there's 5 different principles that my clients know and I live by, the 5 principles of success, okay? That you get to embody this next coming year so that you can get to 10x your revenue. Number 1 is responsibility. You are 100% responsible for what you have in your life right now in your business and all the things that you don't have yet. You get to own it. You get to get real and look at your numbers. You get to really plan, okay, what do I need to get rid of? And really be serious about getting rid of what's really not moving your business forward. Ladies, 80% of that is all really busy work. Just to say that, oh, I worked today. But you'll see, I'm going to break this down for you like really, really clearly. There are only so few things that you should be doing every day that is going to move your business forward. Okay. But first and foremost, we need to talk about who you need to be. So number 1, you need to be responsible, and every successful person is responsible for her level of success. Secondly is commitment. Are you committed to this, right? Remember, I was treating my business as a side gig, as a hobby. You get to be the CEO of your business. So how committed are you in making this business work for you, right? And we're asking you to do really hard things, meaning like throwing away some of the stuff that you're used to doing, taking care of yourself. If you're like, and we're so conditioned to put ourselves last, but to be running a successful, especially some of you are looking to go 7 figures this year, it is not negotiable, right? Commitment. And that becomes when you have the responsibility, the commitment, discipline happens. Okay. Last 2 is so important. You have to have community. Whatever that looks like. Community could be your support system at home. Right? Do your people know, like for my people know, even my 5-year-old knows that if the door is locked, you don't go in there. Right? So you have to have the community. And last but not least, you have to be serving. So service is last. So it's responsibility, commitment, discipline, community, last but not least, service. And same thing, service gets to come with you serving yourself first and then your community. You can see how all those 5 elements create a successful business, or like any organization, right? Like any group. So you get to show up in that next level of identity, right? Next level of ownership. And then I want to hone in on a lot of us, are probably really proud of our 2025. Maybe some are like close to being proud and others might be like disappointed, all of the things. I want you to be able to also own that you have made it. Regardless of the accomplishments, you have made it through the year. Yes, you have made it through the year. You get to be proud of yourself. Only then in this place can you reset and commit to your next level in 2026. Okay. So major part of your homework is like take a moment to truly acknowledge yourself for this year. Get real with yourself for sure with the numbers, but there's no there's no blame. no shame, except just responsibility. I get to be responsible that 2026 is going to be different. Okay. And play around, like journaling, like literally. Sometimes I forget of who I want to be. I have a list of characteristics of who I want to be. On bad days, I'm like, yes, I want to be poised like her. I want to be strong, right? I want to be outspoken. I want to be unapologetic. I want to, whatever, because this is fuel for you. That's why this like big picture things works, ladies. My theme of 2026 is collaboration, period. Like just collaboration. It's not about, you see, this is alluding to later on as one of the 10X strategies. It's really oftentimes not the how. Actually, it's 100% of the time not the how. It's the who. First of all, who do you need to be? Then who you need to be around. There's another way of saying it, just like what Melissa was saying. Cool? Okay. Moving on with the weekly planning, first and foremost, in theme and staying on the premise of 10X, you have to be operating on your core values. AKA for me, those are my non-negotiables. Okay? And they happen to be, I shared it with you, it's faith, fitness, family, fulfillment. Feel free to take that and run with it. And if that resonates with you. So that's what you get to put into your calendar. Like, what are these weekly and dailies kind of like interconnected in a way? So I'm sharing this both, and that's on the bottom of your document. I have the 10X planning framework for the weekly and daily, but you start with basically your non-negotiables, and it has to be on your calendar. And also on your calendar as well too, you have to have a morning routine and an evening routine. It could start with just literally 5 minutes. If you're making your coffee, if you're drinking your first cup of water, it could be literally, I honestly really just started with, while I'm brushing my teeth. That was my morning routine. 2 minutes of listening to something motivational while I'm brushing my teeth. I didn't have an elaborate, morning routine like I do now because I thrive in it now. But it could be anything. You have to just like remember what we did at the beginning of this session. That was 5 minutes. But you feel the difference, right? Like when you're giving yourself a pause to move on to the next thing with more intention, more presence, and all that, right? So you have to take care of you, the CEO of your company, and have your non-negotiables on your daily schedule. Okay? Literally morning routine, evening routine, whatever that looks like for you with your non-negotiable. And also based on the 10X premise is that the analogy works really well. I love this. I'm a long distance runner. I don't know if anyone is a runner in here, but at least have played sports. Anyone cheerleading and yeah, exactly. So you know how the pro athletes or have their regimen, meaning they have their practice days and they have game day, right? We get to treat it the same way. Same thing, that's a 10X concept. And then they have practice day, game day, recovery day. So, for example, entrepreneurs, same thing. Our practice days are called buffer days. Yeah, I love sports. Our game days are focus days. Okay. And then R&R, which is rest and recovery. So you'll see that the suggested is you have to have at least 3 focus days per week. Mine just happened to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The bookends of mine, Monday and Fridays, are my buffer days. Saturday and Sunday are R&R, like rest and recovery. You see an example on a document, if you're looking at it, it's towards, kind of like the bottom, you'll see that. So on the weekly basis, you have to have that. And even within then, in your focus days are usually your focus on doing something, and we call it also blocking out your time and only doing similar activities together. I'll show you my calendar in a little bit, but I'll show you what I mean. Like for example, Wednesday is one of my focus days, but that's when I do all of the networking I can do. It's like, because guess what? I'm so efficient to the point where it's so crazy. I have a schedule when I wash my hair because the hair needs to last 2 days, but otherwise it's gonna be an extra 20 minutes to do my hair. So I work out a certain day, certain workout, certain day, so that way I can be most efficient. I know you ladies were like, you sound like a robot, but I'm telling you, you have to be disciplined. If you can do anything in your business, if you get the discipline down, oh man, like the is freedom, ultimate freedom. Because then you guess what? You get to do whatever you want to do with your time when you're more disciplined with getting results for your business, right? So buffer days, anchored if you want to do that, or depends on your schedule. Another example, it's great too. One of my inner circle clients, her husband is a pilot. So he's gone like 10 days at a time and then he'll come back, right? So her work schedule is slightly different. So we call it, she has a sprint schedule, meaning she's really going to sprint while he's not around. And when he's home, she's with him. So you get to decide what your work schedule looks like. Because remember, I already told you at the beginning that you can work your business around your life. That's why I don't deliver much or launch anything during the summer for that reason. But you have to be disciplined of when you're going to work, you're going to work. Okay. So that's your week. We're clear? Any questions about what the week looks like? You have to have basically your buffer days, aka practice days. You have game days, aka focus days, and then you have R&R, which is rest and recovery. Okay. On the daily basis, you are going to be essentially focused on making sure your non-negotiables are there. So what are your non-negotiables? And with that, I want you to even also break it down into different types of buckets with what you're going to do, how many hours you work, and the capacity. Okay, so for example, what I mean by that. There's literally like 4 different like buckets in my business right now. First and foremost, number one should always be client fulfillment. Like how much time are you going to be spending on delivering client work? Secondly, what is your marketing hours? Are you managing a team or are you working alone? And you should at least have 1 hour of strategy planning for your week into your weekly calendar. And then also, are you creating content? If you do online business and you do social media content and things like that, you should have hours for that. So create a list, essentially a bucket of how many hours are you working in which category. So at least you know what your true capacity is. If you don't yet know, that's okay. When you can create actually looking at the calendar, you need to track it for the next week. I want you to do that for the next week until like probably the first week of January when things are more normal because of without the holidays. I want you to take an inventory of how many hours you're working and where are you basically every single day. So then you'll know what your capacity is for the week. Okay. On the document, you should have the 10x weekly task planning, weekly and daily task planning framework. And you also have an example of what the week looks like, which I mentioned already. Okay. Melissa, you have anything to chime in before I go to daily planning?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. So when it comes to daily planning, we talked about having the importance of having a morning routine and also a evening routine. And then within the day, you're going to have for your morning routine, you're going to have 3 items that you must do every day. And then end of the day routine, you have 3 items that you should also do at the review of each day. And the reason why this is, I keep leaning into and emphasizing what you do on a daily basis is going to help you for everything you do is because why? With daily reflection and then definitely weekly reflection, you'll see on the planning here that it gets you to really get real of like what's really driving you, what are you doing that is actually going to help with your results. So as you can see, the morning routine, the block that you have as a morning routine has suggested, or not suggested, but recommended MITs, what I call most important tasks. So there are 3 most important tasks that you are going to do every day. Number 1 is your revenue generating activity. Some of the revenue generating activity is listed here too, but I want to mention it, is lead generation, networking, sales call, following up with people, anything that is going to help you towards making a sale. Number 2 is what is the thing that is going to move your business forward? Content creation, lead magnet, workshops, webinars, etc., and things like that. Lastly is what is a deadline or a project? Like this is more so for, launches if you have events, but otherwise, if you don't, then if you are a online marketer or you have an online business, you should always be creating content, right? Because that is going to help you with generating revenue. Okay, those are the 3 most important tasks, the MITs. I love how that correlates with MIT, the smartest college in the United States. Your 3 MITs. Yes. I'm going to address that question quickly for Lisa here. Let me get to the chat. Lisa is asking, or a bar brother, is the MITs only on focus days or 5 work days? It's all, the MITs is most important task per day for all working days. Yeah. Cool. And then
But I
last,
think maybe you should have an MIT for your rest and relaxation days too.
oh, meaning relax.
Yes.
Yeah, like what are we like perhaps maybe take to the extreme. Talking about discipline. My MIT for resting day would be like nothing.
Right. That's very important. Don't add to it.
Yes, very important. Cool. So, and then lastly, this is my favorite, and it's a new habit I've been doing. I'm telling you ladies, the past 3 years, and I love, 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 love. Your daily end of the day review. Please don't think it's a 45-minute thing where you have to sit down and look at every single thing that you have done. But it helps to actually have a calendar with everything that you're doing, especially when you are a business owner. I I operate my life with a calendar. Like I mean, like I'll show you in a minute, like what it looks like. But the 3 biggest questions that I would invite you to ask yourself every single day is number 1, what was the 10x progress task that I do today? Or what 10x progress did I make? First question on the daily review. This is what's going to really help you. Remember, I alluded to depends on what you do on a daily basis. It's really going to help you get clear on your, remember, zone of genius. Number 2 is what energized me that I need to do more of. That's the second question for your daily review. Lastly is what drains me and what I need to delegate or eliminate. You ladies will laugh, but mine every single day, tech. Every single day, tech. Like, even though I have 2 VAs who are helping me with technology. I don't know if you already kind of like have seen my struggle already trying to get from Zoom and trying to find a chat and all of the things. But these are the three really important questions, ladies, to ask yourself on a daily basis to help you stay in alignment with your vision, to help you stay in alignment with what you're working towards, and then getting clear with getting rid of the excess, the 80% that you don't need to be worried about, and which is this all busy work. Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to chime in if you have any questions with everything that you are going to be doing, and what have you taken in so far. And then I will show you an example of a schedule of what it looks like
Deidi, can you just repeat those again?
for the three questions.
The
Yeah.
three questions, yeah.
So what 10x progress did I make today? What energized me that I need to do more of? And then what drained me that I need to delegate or eliminate? So this is on a daily basis, daily review. Okay. Questions, comments about what we went through so far with weekly planning and daily planning? Yep. Buffer days are more like, you'll see, we can break it down when you look at my calendar as an example. So buffer days are like Monday for me is all, oh my gosh, like admin days, like back-to-back calls. Melissa and I meet on Monday. I meet with another partner on Monday. I have my coaching call on Monday. Like, and so buffer days is kind of like practice day. Focus day is like game day. So today, for us, for me, today's game day. We're presenting, right? Like we're teaching a whole 3-hour workshop. So then, what I did today with this morning is, because I'm already dressed up, I already have my camera, my setup and everything ready. I recorded videos this morning. And then I have to, business negotiations later this afternoon because I'm ready, right? Like, because Wednesday is one of my focus days. So, yeah, Thursday is my buffer day. Yes. Yeah. So you get to decide what your schedule looks like and what flows, for you. But it's definitely has to work, with your schedule. Just like I said, I have a client who has a sprint schedule. She works sometimes like 10 days straight, and then she'll break for like 5 days. And then because her husband's home, and then, she has sprint schedule. And so, yeah, you get to decide what works for you. I'll pause here. Questions, comments about weekly planning and daily planning.
Sorry, I figure it's just easier to say this instead of type it, but so
Absolutely.
I'm a solo person right now and just starting out my business, and I don't have anyone that's working for me. And like, so the delegation thing, I know I need to delegate some things, but I don't have anyone to delegate them to. So like how are there other ways to kind of think about that and frame that question that might help to think about like
Yeah.
stuff that
So,
still needs to get done, but
yeah. So here, let me tell you this, like, delegation doesn't always have to be a task that is related to business. Here's what I mean by that. Because there's only so many things that you can do, right? But there are so many things that other people can do. Honestly, I was a solopreneur as well. I still am. I just happen to have contractors and JV partners, and that's helping with things. But what I did, one of the first things I delegated, and I highly recommend this too, is that, can someone like clean your house? I'm just making an example, right? Like, because if I clean my house, it's like 6 hours.
And it's energy draining.
It's energy draining,
Mm-hmm.
and it's $200 for someone to clean my house when my time out going to close clients is $1,000 an hour. Do you see that? So it doesn't have to be a business task yet. You may have to do everything on your calendar or like in your business right now, but there are other things that you can delegate in your life So then you can take that time to plug into your business.
Yeah,
That's
and
one of the first things. And then I realized, yeah, sorry, Melissa, I'm just
it's
on
okay.
this
You
train
go.
now. And then I
Yeah.
realized I was going to the grocery stores a lot. Yeah, right. Stephanie
Yeah.
says, yeah, time, energy. Yeah, it's money, right? Because you have to protect your energy. You have to protect your clarity because you're going to come up with like the craziest idea that's going to make $1 million in like 30 days, right? So I was growing groceries a lot, shopping a lot. I was like, okay, I want an Instacart. They can deliver the food to me. You know what I mean? So I'm just using those couple of examples for where you ladies can really start looking at, look how valuable your time is and really start delegating some of the stuff that anyone else can do. Was that helpful, Sarah?
Yeah, and I want to just jump into to give you guys more ideas around this stuff too, because one of the things that's super important as you're building out what your year is going to look like is getting your internal processes documented. And that if you don't have someone right now that's helping you, every time you do something that's a repetitive task, you can do something as easy as get on a Zoom with yourself and record what you're doing, share your screen, speak it out loud as you're doing it, and then get the transcript from that and make that an SOP, a standard operating procedure. The reason why you want to do that is the more you have that documented, the more easy it is for you to bring on someone later. And that someone, by the way, can be a VA. There are millions of VAs all over the place. Dee and I actually use someone who's in the Philippines, so it doesn't have to be super expensive for you. So just don't think that you have to do everything yourself either. Like investing in a VA is going to pay off in massive dividends for you.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, she can turn stuff around like no other.
Yep.
I mean, if I sit there and
She's a
trying to
pro.
fix like the headline on a thing, I will break the funnel.
You break the funnel.
Funnel.
The funnel.
So yes. Okay. Any other questions? Great questions, Sarah, for sure. Yeah. Like we have to get also like sometimes you have to really get creative, with delegation. And sometimes you're like, well, I don't have the money yet to hire the maid or like the help, my mommy's helper. Guess what? There are like teenagers that can come clean your house, right? Like just like people can come, I don't know, mow your lawn for $20. You know what I mean? But if you do it, it's gonna like an hour, 2 hours of your time and
Get your
etc.
kids to do it.
Yes, exactly. So we get to remember going back to being creative. You get to be creative of like, no, I'm not, now that I discovered I should be doing that. Okay, how do I delegate that now? Right? That's how, and how it gets fun, right? Like to the point where like, ooh, how efficient can I be? Crazy like me. Okay, blow dry 3 times a week only, right? Like, you don't have to get crazy like me, but like I'm like that. I'm like, because time is money. And if you value your time, which is totally time is so limited, right? We have to be able to optimize our time because what we can do, like literally a conversation with a potential client and helping her transform her business so she can transform other people's lives, that is so much more worth so much more than each of us trying to clean the house or you know what I mean, like doing random stuff that really don't move your business forward. Cool. Okay. Anything else before we move on? Good. Any comments? Like biggest takeaway? Like what I'm just I love hearing what you ladies want to take on in terms of delegation. Sarah asked a really good question. So now she's gonna get super creative with how she can do that. Okay. If we're good, I'm gonna move on. All right, ladies. What's the point?
Hey, Didi, I'll share my biggest takeaway from this is always when I've thought about delegation, I have thought specifically about the business. And I never thought about, okay, well, if I delegate other stuff, trust me, I'm an avid grocery deliverer. So I got that part. So I'm going to find some other things that I can delegate as well. So
Yes, absolutely. And we have support team members, right? Your husband, your son, your kids, just like Melissa was saying. And you know what I mean? Like and it's just I think another biggest thing too, I think greatest practice for us as women. is asking for help. Yeah, asking for help. You know what I mean? Like we're just so like, oh, I can do it. I can do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like just because you can does not mean you should. Especially when you are a CEO of your business, and if you're looking to generate, I don't know, multiple six-figure, especially seven-figure, right? Like you're gonna be like, not to stay like outside of being humble or anything like that, but you just have to get real with what is worth your time and what's not. And that includes like your environment. Like totally, I don't have friends that are gossiping about anybody. Because that is like I have done so well with getting rid of people that is not going to move the conversation forward or my movement or my mission forward. To the point where I moved states. Northern Virginia, DC, that's where I was. During the pandemic, I was like, wow, this place, wow, I know Mary's nodding. I was like, the conversations that that I was in, I was like, what are we talking about? Right? So you just have to really be able to reset your standards and what you will tolerate. As a seven-figure or on board to be a seven-figure CEO or multiple six-figure CEO, you just don't tolerate certain things. You just don't have certain types of conversation that is not serving you nor the other person because your energy is valuable. Right? Cool. Okay. So I think I have done a decent job in emphasizing that what you do on a daily basis, moment to moment, is very important. About capitalizing your time and really like empowering yourself, to stay, connected with things. Okay. The last piece Melissa and I have is like just literally five biggest strategies when it comes to 10xing next year. A couple of them we kind of like went in it already just because it just was natural for the flow of conversation. But go for it, Melissa. You wanna take this first, like the first few. There are
Yeah,
five
sure.
different 10x business strategies that I highly recommend
Mhm.
for you ladies to take on this next year.
So, you remember all the way back to the beginning when I was talking about your vision. That is a component of what I call your brand DNA. And without getting into too much detail on it, it's really important for, if you haven't done that work, this should be part of one of your goals for next year is to get super clear on what is your vision, what is your values and your business values, which come from your personal values. Obviously, we're all, founders. But you want to get super clear on those things. And you there's more to that, but really it's what I call it is your North Star guidance system. So you really want to make sure that you're doing this because it's going to help you filter all of your decisions this year. Any opportunities that come along, those are the things that you're going to be bumping that up against to make sure it's in alignment. And we've already said that in order to be able to create the right goals, you need to have the bigger vision. So that's important. A part of this as well is getting clear on your positioning. We didn't talk about that today, but positioning for me is kind of like it's the holy grail of a brand. It's the thing that sets you apart from everyone else in your space. And there is a way to create a category of one for each and every one of you. So if you've never thought about those concepts before, I will tell you that when you do get super clear on what the positioning is, you won't have any problems explaining to people what you do. You won't have any problems like explaining why you're different, why they should choose you, all of those things. Um, and it's perfect for, or it's important rather, for your marketing and your messaging. And then, of course, I want you to make sure that we talked about this already, getting clear on who you serve at a very specific level, not the general stuff, not a number of different people, one type of ideal client, because that is going to allow you to get to know what their bigger desires are, their pain points. It's going to allow you to create those offers, create that right messaging, all of that. So that's kind of the brand side of things here. The second thing that I want to talk about here is about pricing and offers, which we went pretty detailed into the offer side of things today. We talked a little bit about prices, but um, I would say, and this is coming from, okay, I'm a recovering CPA, okay? I'm still a CPA actually, like I have a license still, but that's what I did before I started my own business. And I take things from a more like, I look at things very much more like a calculus. So I say, okay, I want to make this, I got to back into what I need to charge. And it's not just what I want to take home. If you are a business, you've got other expenses, right? So, and if you need support on any of this stuff, these are kind of things that Dee and I can support you later on. But point being, it's not just your revenue that you're looking at. You need to factor in all of the other things. If you're going to start hiring people, for any reason, your bookkeeper, a VA, whatever it is, you got to factor in those costs so that you can come down to the number that you take home. And another thing that I'll throw in there too, which is something called, pay yourself first, profit first. Again, something that we can help you guys with, but you want to be making sure you take home money first. Don't start investing in all of those pretty shiny things until you've paid yourself. And again, just to remind you, having that core offer, that's your 80%. Create your upsells and downsells around that. But this will simplify things for you greatly, and it is going to get you to that 10x number because it'll allow you to think about, how do I make that work? Make sense? Okay, I'm gonna ping pong it back to you, Deidi.
You're on mute.
You are muted, dear.
In addition to pricing the offer, one of the strategies that I know that will move truly your business forward the most and get you to truly step into your next level of leadership and identity, as we have been talking about. And this is honestly the one thing I do firstly in most of my clients' businesses. And most of you ladies here are my clients, you know this, is to increase your prices. 2026 is when you get to really start thinking about, can I double my rates? And here's the mindset shift I want you to really take on. Just because you are going to charge more, because we're on a 10x premise here, right? Does not mean you have to do any more work than you have been. When you decide to increase your prices, number one, firstly, the work that you have to do as an entrepreneur, as a leader, is you have to be able to step into that, like full ownership of, yes, this is my rates, and this is what I command because of my X years of experience, because who I'm showing up as, and whatever it is I'm willing to do to get your results. But ultimately, here's the thing. When you are asking your clients to pay a certain rate, especially when you're increasing your rate, you're actually giving them even more ownership in their own results. Here's what I mean by that. There's more skin in the game. There's a higher level of belief, right, in yourself that you can deliver. And there's also a higher belief that your clients can actually show up. And the reason why we haven't raised our rates yet, it's just because it has been comfortable. And 10X is not about staying comfortable, right? It's being willing to take ourselves through whatever you need to, right? To show up bigger, right? To show up this next level leader. And then you can ask your clients to do the same. And oftentimes when clients gets to choose, especially if this is your dream client, ideal client, you have already figured it out, and clients get to choose you, because not only it's not about you and you can actually deliver. Is basically what, when I call it selling with influence, is are you able to transfer the level of belief that you have for them to them? And you cannot do that without increasing prices. Because the minute you do, especially when you double, I invite you to double, start there. The stake is that much higher, right? For everyone, and especially for your clients. So that's like the first strategy I would recommend for you to automatically make more money. Even right now, right? Like right before the holidays, you can even say, I am going to, rates are going to change for 2026. You can lock them in now for 2025. This is a strategy I'm giving all my clients. And I would love to continue working with you. So re-sign like re-sign current clients, or even reach out to previous clients who are not working with you at the moment to tell them and let them know, inform them that you have new rates for 2026 and you're happy to lock them in for 2025 rates right now and make a decision to double your rates for 2026. And that is one of the strategies that is quickest to getting you to 10x your effort, because instantaneously you have to mentally prep yourself. However, even just kind of presenting the offer, right, to your client, you're still going to be like, okay, how do I show up to this conversation now when you decide to double? I want to pause right here for questions, comments, because I know this is a big topic for all of us women entrepreneurs. Go ahead and chime in, questions, comments. I want to hear what you're taking away from this part of the conversation right now.
It's scary to think about increasing rates and potentially losing customers as a result.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess what? Remember, 10x is all about getting rid. Because what got you here? Remember, if you keep charging, imagine this 10x, philosophy we're talking about. If you keep your rates, that means you have to sign 10x more number of clients to get there. You're still going to keep grinding, doing the same thing. You're not growing as a person. Your clients are still the same client. You're not calling them forward to do more, to exceed their own potential currently. Yes, more skin in the game is a win-win. So that's why it's the fear that is taking you out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are believers here. It's faith over fear. Faith over fear. And I can tell you right now, it's going to take you everything of you to do it, but you have to trust that's where you need to go to grow. Because otherwise you're going to stay exactly where you are.
Yep.
So you need the work is to manage and embrace the fear and do it anyway. I may sometimes suggest, I hear you, Melissa, I may sometimes suggest like a ladder up. If you don't feel like you are like really 100% there, like, and can be, saying double the amount without throwing up, that you may be 50%, right? Like ladder up. And then the goal is every 6 to 8 new clients, you increase it. My clients here can attest to this. This is the rule we have. Every 6 to 8 clients, you increase it because you are that much more experienced in your field, in your craft now. Okay. So you get to take on the new challenge, Tanya, of like, who do I get to be? Right? Like, yes, I'm afraid, I'm a fear of losing the client. But if you're not, and here's the thing, you have to treat every single client like they will be with you forever. And some of them may, but if you are just afraid of losing them as the client and you keep charging them the same and then you don't fully show up for it, and the person doesn't resign, you end up losing them anyway. Versus if you keep showing up, you keep evolving, you keep giving them more, and you keep challenging them, and they keep growing with you, they're going to be with you forever. Right? Because when we look at sales, it's interesting. We always think about that one particular transaction. But you have to think when it comes to sales and business, it's retention. One client is worth hundreds of dollars. Trust me on this. Hundreds of dollars. And if you are working towards millions, they can be worth millions. If you charge multiple 5-figure packages, that's a lot of money. So I want you to think like long term, right? Like long term, like and you want to be also grow as an expert and or as a business owner too. And the only way to grow really fast is by increasing your rates. Cool.
There's also a component here that we want to be aware of, and that is when you set yourself apart. Like I have my brand hat on right now. When you set yourself apart from everyone else, you get to set your rates. There's a value proposition that's included in that, and that is all part of your positioning in your market. And some of this too has to do with how you create an offer for that client. You are not like anyone else in your space, and you are creative, as we said at the beginning. And so create something that is around your zone of genius, your expertise, your unique perspective on things that is invaluable to them. Like they're like, I gotta have it. And then you won't have a problem with your price because you know the value. And I think we all get disconnected from our value. You find your value through a process of coming up with your positioning. And you will never look back when you know it. I promise you, you will be like on freaking fire. So you got to do that work.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to add, since we're on the offer conversation, and part of what I love earlier when I talked about having at least 3 offers to start, but there is such a thing at some point of your business, we call it an offer suite, meaning like you should always be thinking about how you can create more results for your clients. And it doesn't also, oftentimes we think that we have to do more to charge more. No, you have to, the creative part is you get to create something that they need. So for example, true story, well, we just launched a pretty crazy inner circle of influence mastermind. And it's the highest level of program that I've ever launched, the biggest tickets I've ever launched. And you know how I got creative? 1/3 of the features of the program I'm not delivering. So this leads into another strategy that I want to emphasize is collaboration. Include other experts into it. So who, not how, exactly. So for example, you know, the partial of this program is getting people ready to be speakers and to be on stages. And as you know already, speakers have a way of commanding the room, right? Not only in their energy, the present, the words and things like that, the way they dress, what their hair looks like. So what did I do? I put those 2 features in my program. They worked with a personal stylist to make sure that they have an authority elevation in their image of how they show up. What do I need to wear, you know, when they're in front of the audience, etc., things like that. So I have a personal stylist that works with them. And then secondly, I have another option too for those clients who are very particular with how their hair. I am sharing my hairstylist with them. I'm putting that into the package, right? You see, I'm not delivering that. I'm just being creative of pulling in what do the clients need to be most successful, right? And then lastly, I added, what else did I add? There's the feature too that I work with also women between 35 and 60. So I added a health performance coach in the program for those that actually need it. So you get to be creative with, you can charge more. What else can you add into it? It doesn't have to be your time, but you can hire other experts and collaborate that way. And guess what? Then they do the same thing for you. I'm in one of my colleagues' mastermind. I teach the image and speaking side of the things. She does all of the events. So get creative. Collaboration is a very, very big strategy when it comes to 10xing your effort next year. It's not all, you don't have to rely on just yourself. Just creatively thinking about collaboration and how can you pull in experts into your current offer. So that is irresistible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were talking about offer, so I want to kind of segue into collaborations. And then last but not least, I'm biased, right? I'm biased about this. But when you are a business owner, right, you have to be a decent presenter or speaker, period. No one's gonna listen to you, right? Like even just one-on-one, like I'm very big on making sure that even for my clients who are not speakers, you don't have to be a speaker to make sure that you have, strong presentation skills, right? You have to be able to carry a conversation, ask good enough questions so that you are able to support your clients in what they're going through and possibly find a way to help them in your sales calls, strategy calls, potential clients. Even if you're like networking, you don't think like you're in front of the room, it's so very important. Even if it's, and guess what? People make their decisions if they trust you or not. Crystal can help me with this, or like so many of you ladies understand that, like literally instantaneous. And as a business owner, to be really strong on that side of things, that is a competitive advantage. When you're able to communicate what it is that you do to people with words, but often like 85% of communication is nonverbal. So I teach a lot about like identity ascension stuff, like how to embody who you need to be. You experience part of the grounding priming exercise already at the beginning. I do a lot of that, every single time, before you step into a conversation. But you have to, all of us, including myself, this is on the list of how to become a better presenter or speaker. That is a 10x strategy. I built my entire business, especially this online business, from the very, very beginning, from speaking. And I didn't even know what I was saying, ladies. But I closed clients. I didn't know, like, when I was asked to like speak, I was like, okay, how many people? They're like 20. I'm like, how long do I have? 15 minutes. I'm like, what? Okay, that's fine. I'll do it. But it's just like it's one to many. It's truly at the end of the day, when it comes to sales process, what you're thinking about is rather than speaking to someone one-on-one, it's actually one to many. That's why it's a 10x ninja strategy. If you can get yourself comfortable on speaking in front of a group and presenting yourself and getting yourself in front of groups, oh, you'll 10x everything like in, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, right? Okay. And then so essentially what I meant with the one to many is selling to leverage your time, is that's how you can build a sales engine. The other thing we already kind of talked about already, optimizing your operations. And we have the 3 rules is you delegate. If you don't have anybody delegate, you want to automate because there's so many AI technology. Lastly, if you can't delegate it and if you can't automate it, guess what, ladies? Eliminate it, throw it away. It's probably like wouldn't do anything to your business anyway.
It's that busy work we keep talking about, probably.
Delegate, automate, or eliminate. Like,
That's right.
just
So
cool.
there's a couple of questions in here, Deidi. I answered a few, but Stephanie said, I don't remember what you were talking about this time, but do they pay the other experts separately?
No. So, or I would say the best way is for you to build the relationships with the expert, and you would pay the expert from your company because like a 1099, and then you just work that into the program. Because what you don't want is having the client go through the hoops of like
Nope.
buying this thing separate. Can you imagine? I have 10 items on my features. Can you imagine? Be like, I can charge you for this much, but you go out and buy 9 other things with this much. No, give them one price,
But
right? Does that
how do you make more money if you're like you're increasing the amount for like the package, but then you're paying those people what they deserve to be paid, obviously. So like, am I charging more because I found those experts and put it all together?
yes and yes.
I've done that plenty of times. When I was doing
Yeah.
brand photography, I had
Hairstylist.
assistants and things, hairstylists, all the things, and because I was coordinating the whole thing, that's my project management fee. So
Yeah.
I had my package and it included all of that with that my 15% project management fee.
Yeah. And here's also something else you should consider as an expert too. Because you are an expert, just like I know what it requires for you, for someone to be like picked out of all the millions of speakers and get picked to be a keynote, I know what it requires, like what I know what they need. So I'm like specific with choosing the experts that actually is going to actually help them with exactly what they need. Does that make sense? And oftentimes because they are not there yet, so they don't know what they need. And because you are an expert, you know that.
Yep.
So that's why it's our responsibility to figure out, what they need to get the best result possible. And it's our job to go assemble the team, right? It just happens to be 1099, but it's us, our job, assembling the team, to like move, them forward, our clients forward the fastest possible. Yeah. It's
Um,
I'm telling you, it's ninja because you know why? Not only that, I'm pursuing, like I'm getting my clients the best result. They get what they need. And then I have now these relationships with these ladies and they want me in their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's give, give, give. Like it's just like, what else can I give? Like, you know what I mean? And then it just comes back, you know, so much more naturally. So expert is another thing when it comes to offer. Yeah, I
and
think that's all we got for business strategies, how you can
we got
10x.
a couple more questions.
Oh, okay,
Um,
sorry.
Crystal said that she wanted to know if we could speak a little bit about putting yourself in front of the right audience when you're changing your right fit client. I was asking who do you know who has an audience of those kinds of clients, but wanted to see what else you might want to add to that.
So you're switching clientele, Crystal? Yeah? Okay. Um, well, first, I think the first thing would be really important is for you to get clear on who the new clients are, right? And then kind of like really start looking at like your current like communities of where you are and are your newly, demographics in these groups. If not, then, you're going back to the same thing you started at the beginning of like finding the right rooms to be in. But oftentimes, like the more premium your clients are, I can tell you that they're in very different rooms than previous rooms. If there's any hints to that, like it's just kind of like it's just because we're here now and we want to go over there, so we need to find different people, right? Different groups to be in front of. And oftentimes, my best strategy for when you are looking to be what who are you looking I guess to be in front of more now, Crystal?
My computer just changed, so now I can't see you. But you can see me, right?
I can see you, yes.
There. So it's definitely more of that premium client compared to where it's been. And more specifically, high capacity women going through major transitions or identity shifts, looking to really reconnect back to their power, return to emotional stability, and build into that next version level of who they're here to be. So, but the client, the premium end of it is what I'm really shifting. Like I'm shifting. I know that there's a tier of clients that I'm not around, but I'm coming back out of being quiet for a while. So,
Mhm.
it's a big shift for me.
Okay, so it's good that I hear that. And of course, Melissa, feel free to chime in because we're talking about ideal clients here. So,
Mhm.
um, for what I'm hearing, is not so much of, I don't think, I think what you're saying right now, just now, because I'm not clear exactly what you do, right? What you just shared just now is very general to be able to identify the right rooms to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So for example, speakers, I know where they are.
Right.
But if I'm not clear with that, where I can just say, oh, I just want to, and this was my message before too, so I'm using a real example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to teach women how to use their voice and stand up for themselves and maybe charge more in their business. So when I was there, it was very hard for me to find a room to be in. So do I go to a room with this woman who wants to stand up for themselves, or do I go to a room where there is entrepreneurs who want to charge more? But when I got really clear on like, yes, I want to work with entrepreneurs who are looking to be on stages, then I got really clear. Okay, now I know where to find them. So what I would say is leaning in more to that your zone of genius and what you want to do with your people as your offer. If you're clear on your offer, then it's easier to find where your ideal clients are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, you have anything to add to that, please?
I do actually. What I would say to you, Crystal, is that you know, this is like one of the hardest things for people to do is to figure out who their ideal client really is. And sometimes it takes a long time to get there. But what I would suggest to you is figuring out what I would say the demographics of the person. So oftentimes I have people look at, okay, well, who have I worked with in the past I really loved working with? And maybe I need more of those type of people. What do they do for a living? What industries are they in? Where are they hanging out? Online, offline, all of the things where you can say, oh, well, maybe if I just go after that type of audience for a while, I'll know. And sometimes it comes from your past experience. Maybe you've worked in a specific industry or with a certain, type of person and you love that, right? So like for Dee Dee's example, maybe she really loves working with speakers in particular because that jazzes her up. She's a speaker herself. Look at how you have connections with other people. Who is that person that's kind of like you, but doesn't know what you know and needs you? So go through those exercises to figure that out, and I think it'll make it much easier for you to start to pick a lane and go with it for a while. And don't change it.
Right.
Not on a whim anyway.
Just
Get
give
some
it.
data and get the data behind it. Understand whether it's working, whether those are the right, like whether you like working with them. Like get
Mm-hmm.
some clients in and start figuring it out and getting the data to say, yeah, that's who I want. Because I haven't stuck with the exact same type of client. I have for a little while now, but like gosh, in the past I was ping-ponging a lot, and that's what I'm gonna tell you. Don't do that. Don't follow that mistake that I made because you're gonna be constantly changing things without you'll be kind of rudderless, right? But I think that's where the work needs to be done is to figure those things out. Who do you love working with?
Yeah. And stay with it for 90 days at a time, right? Quarterly basis, right? It takes about a month. That's usually the sales cycle for all of it. Like even if it's like in person, online, combination of both, etc. Try something out for at least 90 days at a time for you to have enough data to gauge to see if you know what you need to shift.
Thank you,
Yes, and
lady.
you are
Awesome.
welcome. One last question. I'm just gonna I answered some in the chat, but for Sarah, can you have a different ideal client for each offer level? Sarah, I'm going to answer that. So I'm going to start the answer with this, and then Dee Dee can chime in and tell me what she thinks. But okay, what I'm going to tell you is we talked about 10x, right? Simplification. Guess what happens when you have different ideal clients? You're creating completely different offers. You're creating completely different messaging. You're going to have to be doing twice the work to bring in those people. So I know it's hard, and I know you feel like I don't want to leave anybody out, or I love both kinds of people, whatever that is. But I'm going to challenge you to just pick a lane. And yeah, just as Dee Dee said, go 90 days, but only focus on those people. And I swear to you, you will have more time in your day, more energy. You'll know how to speak to them. You'll get yourself in the right rooms. Why do you want to be in two different rooms, right? Like, because you will have to be. It's two different stages, two different networking groups, two different everything. You're multiplying your time and energy when you do that.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Any other questions, Melissa? Thank you for
Yeah,
tracking
no,
me.
there's no other questions. Sarah, does that? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
All right, ladies. Guess what? That is what we have for you to really hit 10x revenue goals next year. So to close out, I want to take really truly another moment, just kind of like ground down together. I like to do that at the beginning, at the end. But before we have a close eye moment, I just have a true message for each and every one of you that is still here, and also for those of you who are going to be listening to the replay. That it is not an accident that you're here today and that and what you do. You are gifted and appointed to do this work. Entrepreneurship is hard. Trust me. I've been on all kinds by this point. It's like 20 years, the first 10 years in my 20s in brick and mortars, and then in my 30s, I've been on like this online space. The one thing that I know that really usually holds all of us back when we end up like doubting, sabotaging, and everything is because you're not loving yourself in the process. I know it's the end of 2025. You know, some of us are hitting goals, others are not, no matter what. To get there, and especially at 10x level, it requires a whole new level of compassion for ourselves. And for me, I had promised myself, like on my way to 7 figures, multiple 8 figures, is I'm going to love myself. And my message for you is the same. Is to love yourself wholeheartedly in this process. And being able to acknowledge yourself no matter what. Even those moments where you feel like you want to throw in a towel. Maybe I should go back and get a job. Is to pick it back up. Because you can do anything that you want in the world. And it's just, you need to love yourself so much that eventually becomes the belief that you can do anything. And that is the truth. You can do anything. Have anything. But to do the things that you love and have the things that you dream about, you have to be the person that you want to be, which is at the end of the day, is we're all doing it because we love what it is that we get to do for people, right? Who do you get to be before anyone else? Who do you get to be for yourself? So let's do a closed eyes moment together. If you can just sit back, place your one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And I want you to imagine that you are looking in a mirror. and you're looking straight back at yourself. And you take a deep breath in. And you let it out and release everything, and you say, thank you. Thank you for standing up for me. Thank you for being there. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for trusting everything happens for a reason. And that 2026, December 17th, 2026, is this moment where you can say, yes, I did it. Ultimately, I have loved myself through this whole entire year, and that I have allowed myself to be supported by the people in my immediate family, my community, and that I love me. Gently open your eyes. Yeah, take this moment, same thing like we did earlier. Take a moment to acknowledge each other. You've come so far. And now you get to see who you get to become this coming year. Melissa and I are not going anywhere. We're here to support you every step of the way. We have just a booking link in the chat if you just want to have a further conversation about what you're working on in 2026 and how you want to be supported. We're here for you. Happy holidays, and I'll see you back on our follow-up call December 30th. I think the link is in the chat, and otherwise, if you can't find it, reach out.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you for
ladies.
coming.
Have a fabulous afternoon.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.